Have you ever thought about the absolute outer limits of human experience? Well, today we're diving into a really fascinating historical text, a 16th century attempt to map one of the most intense and mysterious spiritual states you can imagine. Let's decode this old-school guide to divine ecstasy.
Right from the title, you can tell this is serious business. This isn't just a casual description, it's a formal treatise. The author is trying to explain how God can literally suspend the human soul. The language just pulls you right into another time, another world.
So right away the author clears something up for us. We might split hairs today over the difference between a trance, ecstasy, and a rapture, but for our 16th century guide, nope, they're all one and the same, a single, overwhelming divine event.
So how does something this profound even start? You might think it's the result of years of practice or intense meditation, right? Well, the author says, not a chance. This isn't something you can work your way up to. It's an intervention.
And this is absolutely key. The experience isn't earned. It's started by something else. The trigger is what the author calls a word from God, maybe a line of scripture you suddenly remember or something you just heard. It's a divine spark that just arrives completely out of the blue.
And I love this metaphor of the phoenix. It just perfectly illustrates the transformation. That initial little spark is fanned into an all-consuming fire. The soul isn't just warmed, it's completely reborn from the flames. It's an image of total, radical change.
Okay, so that's how it starts. But what actually happens during the experience? What does it feel like when the soul is suspended? Well, the physical description we get is every bit as dramatic as the spiritual one.
And just listen to that powerful language, ravishing the soul. This is not a gentle process. It's described as this overpowering force, and the very first thing to go is your most basic human ability, speech. Your own will is just completely set aside.
The physical signs here are just stark. The body goes cold. Breathing becomes so shallow it might not even be detectable. All your physical strength just vanishes. Can you imagine witnessing this? It's a state that almost mimics death, a complete suspension of the body's normal functions while the soul is somewhere else.
But here's a really interesting distinction. The intense physical event itself is brief. It's the spiritual and mental aftermath that really lingers. The author uses this incredible word, describing the will as inebriated, literally drunk on the divine. The mind stays transported, unable to focus on everyday things, sometimes for days.
This brings us to a really fascinating paradox. If you're completely overwhelmed, if your normal senses are shut down, what do you actually bring back from the experience? What's the point if you can't even remember it?
It's like the author can read our minds, even centuries later. They ask the exact question we're all thinking. It's a perfectly logical question, right? If you can't describe the details, what good is it? What's the takeaway?
And here's the profound answer. The memory isn't cognitive. It's not a list of facts or images you can pull up in your mind. It's described as an indelible imprint, a mark left on the very core of your being. It's a kind of memory that exists way deeper than conscious thought.
To help us wrap our heads around this, the author gives us a brilliant analogy. Think about it. Let's say you get to walk through a private museum filled with priceless treasures. Afterwards, you probably couldn't list every single object you saw. But would you ever forget the sheer magnificence of the collection? No way! You know what you experienced, even if you can't itemize it.
And that's the ultimate profit of the experience. The soul comes back, not with detailed notes, but with a new, unshakable conviction. It's that overwhelming impression of greatness that's never forgotten, and it can fundamentally change your entire understanding of reality.
Of course, back in a time when experiences like this were taken very, very seriously, it was critical to know the difference between the real deal and a counterfeit. So how on earth did you tell them apart?
Well, our author provides a very practical checklist. A genuine rapture comes from God, it ravishes the soul, and it leaves behind a deep sense of humility. A false one, on the other hand, comes from inside, from your own natural weakness or emotion. It doesn't ravish you, it just produces a kind of stupor and self-deception. The key difference is an external force acting on you versus an internal state that just gets out of hand.
And this is a really important nuance. The author isn't accusing people of being fakes or frauds. The big concern is with unintentional, unwitting self-deception. It's a warning against mistaking a purely psychological or physical event for a divine one, without even realizing you're doing it.
Ultimately, when we step back, we have to remember what this is. This is just one person's attempt to chart a totally invisible landscape. It's a single, incredibly detailed map of an inner world, and it was created with the tools and beliefs of a very different time. A single, fascinating perspective.
You know, looking at this intricate 16th century map of the soul really makes you wonder. Today, we have all this science, we have neuroscience and psychology, and yet we are still explorers in the vast territory of our own consciousness. It leaves you with a question, doesn't it? Centuries later, what parts of our own inner world are still just blank spots on the map?